Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Learn and Prayer this morning. To this morning's learning is dedicated in memory of all of those that have passed and whose yahrzeit falls today, as well as all those we are saying Kaddish for during the course of the current year. Wonderful to see you all. Good morning, David, Clarice, and Peter. I'm sure, David, you're very happy after last night. It was a brilliant talk last night, fascinating, really enlightening regarding covert missionaries, and the talk was by some outstanding speakers. If you haven't yet seen it, I would highly recommend that you take time out to watch it. It is on the US TV as well as on our own channels. So the beginning of the parsha, the first word is Vaykira. And it basically means, and he called. And it states that God called to Moses. God called to Moses. What's unusual is that the last letter of the word, and he called, Vaykira, is with a small aleph. Why is the letter small? So our sages tell us because God was calling to Moses, and Moses, in his great humility, didn't want that statement to be written about him, that accolade, to have that approbation that God called to Moses. Moses, in his humility, preferred that it wouldn't be written about him. He actually wanted for it to be written Vayikar, without the aleph, which means an inconsequential meeting, the type of thing that we find, and language we find in relation to Bilam, the prophet. And yet, eventually, there was this compromise that was reached between God on the one hand, Moshe on the other, that yes, it would be written, but it would be written small. And it's a strange thing, this whole concept of how we are meant to be humble. You know, there's that old Jewish joke that goes about the first person that walks into shul. He goes to the bimah and he says, Ich bin agonisht. I'm a nothing. The next one comes in and stands next to him and says, no, ich bin agonisht. No, not you, I'm a nothing. And then the third one comes in and says, ich bin agonisht, I'm a nothing. And the other two turn to him and say, how can you be agonisht? You've only just got here. Anyways, the idea is, how do we grapple and strike the balance between having self-esteem, self-confidence, self-belief on the one hand, and being modest about our achievements and who we are. I think it was Winston Churchill famously said in the 1951 election about Attlee, he said that Clement Attlee was a modest man with plenty to be modest about. He also referred to him as a sheep in sheep's clothing. But if a person is successful, how do they balance that success, that sense of accomplishment, with modesty, which is a Jewish trait and hallmark of our people? There's a great story, which we mentioned before, relating to Dayan Yechezkel Abramsky, the author of Chazon Yechezkel. Dayan Abramsky, some of you may even recall, he was the Av based in from pre-war all the way through till after the war, before he moved to Israel. And he was a colossus, by far the greatest Dayan to ever grace this country and these shores. And on one occasion, there was a court case relating to a shochet of the London Based In who claimed that he was wrongfully dismissed. So he took the London Based In to court. And in court, the judge asked Dayan Abramsky, this great man, he said, can you state your credentials? And Dayan Abramsky said, yes, my lord, my name is Dayan Yechezkel Abramsky. I am the supreme ecclesiastical authority in the country and Commonwealth, and I am the expert when it comes to Jewish law in this country. Well, the judge was quite astonished, and he turned to Dayan Abramsky and he lowered his glasses and he said to him, Dayan Abramsky, I thought the Jewish people were meant to be a modest people, and yet your statement doesn't sound remotely modest. Dina Bromsky, without missing a beat, turned to the judge and he said to him, "My lord, I'm under oath. I'm under oath." So modesty is about knowing who we are and having a sense of awareness of who we are. It doesn't mean boasting and shouting about it from the rooftops, but nonetheless, a person should know who they are and be proud of who they are. And the counterweight to this awareness and this pride and self-confidence that we have in our achievements, our accomplishments, and who we are, is the idea of being modest. And modesty means that I'm self-effacing. I'm not interested in getting the plaudits and getting the praise. I'm doing it for the right intentions. I recognize that whatever I have achieved has come from God. And the flip side to this is we find with Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, another great rabbi in America, and he was once at a dinner where he was asked to finish the tractate, to make the siyum, and the host referred to him, instead of his title, instead of referring to him as Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, they referred to him as Rabbi Yankel, as like a friend, a very over-friendly, a bit disrespectful, over-familiar term. And Rabbi Yaakov simply said, "I don't think I should make the siyum." He refused to speak because the honor and respect that are afforded to a great sage or to a great person is not because of him per se, but it's because of the Torah, because of the wisdom, because of what he represents. When it came to Moses, our greatest of leaders, Moses was aware, Moshe was aware that everything that he had accomplished, everything that he had achieved, it came from on high. He attributed every one of his successes not to himself per se, but everything came as a result of siyata dishmaya, of divine intervention, divine assistance. And therefore, that's why Moshe didn't want it to be written with a large aleph, didn't want it to be that God was calling him. He wanted to attribute everything back. He wanted it to be an inconsequential meeting. Nonetheless, God turned to Moshe and said to him, "You can't have it on par with a Bilam, with a wicked person. You have to recognize that you are an outstanding leader, that you are a ruach, you have the ruach Elokim, the spirit of God inside you. You are outstanding." And therefore, there was this compromise struck. And that is really the way that we are meant to live our lives, to straddle the boundaries, to strike a balance between having self-esteem, self-confidence, self-belief on the one hand, and on the other hand, not needing others to blow our own trumpets. If a person is too modest, then it leads to disaster. They don't achieve, they don't believe in themselves, they don't accomplish anything. If, on the other hand, a person is completely full of ego and haughtiness and overbelief, then there is a real danger that pride goes before a fall. So hopefully we will all be able to strike the right balance. Let's now recite the Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Memorial prayer. Adonai Elamim Zachav Es Nishmai Zganan Shamash Nalchol Yilamam Anaval Rachamim Dasmim Zeis Ganapech Yolamim Vetitzor Zachayis Nishmasam Vianucha Mishkvazam Beshalom Venamar Amen. For Shlema prayer lastly. Misha Bechav Sein Romans of Yaakov Moshe Aaron Dav Shlomo Yivarech HaPesachilem. Bavo she'anu mispalim bavuram b'zchazek HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimalei rachem aleihem lachmal chasam yishlach lem pushlim nishma b'necharvem b'soch shach yisrael refus nefesh v'saguf hashda bagasman koribba noma amen. Friends, our program has never become more relevant, more important, more critical and crucial. We all ask ourselves every day, what can we do for Ukraine? Well, by learning, by praying, by praying for a refuah shlema for all those that have been hurt, and for, please God, praying to the Almighty that there should be an end to this conflict and there should be restored peace, tranquility, and order in Ukraine. We hope and pray that our prayers will be answered and that will be occur in a not too distant future. Lovely to see you all. Good morning, Estelle, Caroline, Aitan, Peter, Clarice, David, etc. Lovely to see you all. Please God, we'll see you back tomorrow. Take care. Have a great day.